We'd spent 3 days in Salt Lake City before the eclipse, then 4 days out in the Nevada desert, Ely, Great Basin, the shadow of the moon. Now we were back, with 3 more days to explore. Day 2 of our return, the canyons were calling again. Big Cottonwood Canyon is just a few miles north of Little Cottonwood, and the drive up feels immediately familiar. The same steep walls, the same creek running alongside the road, the same sense the city is falling away behind you. But geologically, it's a completely different place. Where Little Cottonwood is carved through 30-million-year-old granite, Big Cottonwood contains rocks over 1 billion years old, quartzite and shale, laid down along the shoreline of an ancient sea. The 2 canyons sit side by side and read from completely different chapters of the Earth's history. From the air, you can really feel the scale. The U-shaped valley carved by glaciers, the ragged ridgelines above, the aspen gold working its way down the slopes. October in the Wasatch is something else. We had 2 waterfalls on the agenda. They couldn't have been more different from each other. Or, as it turned out, from what we expected. The trail to Donut Falls is an easy one. A few miles through forest, following the creek, the aspens putting on their annual show all around you. It's one of the most popular hikes in the canyon, and on a mid-October weekday, we practically had it to ourselves. The falls get their name from a circular hole in the rock formation through which the water cascades, creating what's supposed to look like a donut. Supposed to. We'll come back to that. To get close to the falls, the trail drops down to the creek via a knotted rope fixed to the rock face. It's not technical, just enough to make you feel like you've committed to something. We climbed down, picked our way across the rocks, and found ourselves at the base of a genuinely beautiful waterfall. We looked around, we looked up, we looked at each other. Where was the donut? We saw the falls. We saw the rope, the rocks, the cold, clear water. What we did not see at any point was anything resembling a donut-shaped hole in the rock. Now, it's possible we didn't get quite the right angle. It's possible we were simply standing in the wrong spot. It's also possible we just hiked to a waterfall called Donut Falls and completely missed the donut. Either way, beautiful waterfall. Would recommend. Bring better spatial awareness than we did. A few miles back down the canyon, we stopped again, this time for something almost the opposite of Donut Falls. Hidden Falls sits just off the canyon road, barely a 5-minute walk from the trailhead, close to the road, but feeling unexpectedly off the beaten path. No rope required, no scrambling, just a short rocky path, the sound of water growing louder, and then, there it is. The contrast was striking. Where Donut Falls rewards effort and a little nerve, Hidden Falls rewards simply paying attention. Most people drive right past the turnoff without knowing it's there. 2 waterfalls, a mile apart, nothing alike. That felt like a good morning. We came down out of the canyon in the early afternoon and pointed ourselves toward the city. We've made it a tradition, lowercase t, to stop at state capitol buildings wherever we find them on our travels. Utah's is one of the best. The Utah State Capitol sits on Capitol Hill overlooking downtown Salt Lake City, a neoclassical building designed by architect Richard K. A. Kledding and built between 1912 and 1916. From the steps, you can see the whole valley spread out below you, the city grid, the distant shimmer of the Great Salt Lake, the mountains on every side. There's a detail here that I love. The exterior columns and much of the facade are built from Utah granite, quarried from Little Cottonwood Canyon, the canyon we'd hiked through just yesterday. The stone that became the walls of this building was pulled from those same gray cliffs. Salt Lake City quite literally built its seat of government out of its own mountains. We didn't go inside. We just walked the grounds, took our photos, stood on the steps, and looked out. Sometimes that's enough. For dinner, we headed to a small restaurant called Tradition, tucked across the street from Liberty Park on the east side of the city. Tradition opened in 2017 in a building that had sat vacant for decades. Simple, casual, and comfortable inside, with small details that give it its own personal touch. The menu is comfort food, but not in a predictable way. Dishes inspired by family recipes with creative twists, often blending American and Asian influences in ways that feel completely natural on the plate. Funeral potatoes alongside eggplant tonkatsu, fried green tomatoes, chicken and dumplings with a curry broth. It was exactly what you want after a day in the mountains. Warm, unhurried, and genuinely delicious. It was a meal that made me feel like I lived in the neighborhood. After dinner, we split up for the evening. Nefertiti had discovered that Ballet West offers drop-in adult classes at their studio inside Trolley Square, a former trolley barn from the early 1900s converted into a shopping and dining complex. An hour later, Nefertiti emerged from the studio glowing in the way that only happens after a really good dance class. We drove back to the hotel. Hot tub, sleep. Day 12, done. One more day in Salt Lake City and then the long road back to Chicago would begin. But we weren't thinking about that yet. Thanks for watching Small Planet Big World. We'll see you next time.
You about to max that?
Oh, wow.